drive-through@gmail.com and post it on the YouTube page, the Facebook page. There's a clip. It's only 4 seconds. Let me play you this, and we may have to play it a couple times to get the full grasp of it. This is Dave Meltzer on Wrestling Observer Radio, this clip, talking to his co-host Garrett Gonzalez. I'm going to play that again. Again, Dave's doing the talking. His phone goes off, and he has it set to announce who's calling. In the long run, you end up back where you were, just with a lower price. Anyway, so of course it says Tony Khan. Now, maybe this is a diversion. Maybe it's not Tony Khan. Maybe it's Chris Jericho. No, but it's Tony Khan. What are your thoughts?
Can I just hold on just a sec? For one thing, we've established that Dave Meltzer is, I believe, either a year or a year and a half older than me, and I'm now 64, and he's got a phone that not only plays that fucking tune, but it says the name of whoever's calling. What the fuck is it? He's got to be one of the kids, doesn't he? Here's another thing. You ask any man in the wrestling business back in the 70s and 80s, if they wanted a phone that when it rang, it would announce the name of the person it was calling, and that guy might be in the fucking grocery store with his wife pushing the cart that he may be using when he's homeless after it says, "You're a whore from Richmond."
Beyond the hilarity of the fact that Tony Khan is calling him in the middle of a show. Yeah. It's the fact that Tony Khan is calling him. We talked about this recently. Tony Khan relies on Dave. He has from day one. The first hire they made was recommended by Dave.
That's why, like, they speak so much. They don't say anything bad about AEW. Their criticisms about it are not like real criticism. It's like if they were just like telling you to tighten up. Like, they're not really like getting on to you. Like, this shit is bad. The booking, like I keep saying it, like the booking, there's a lot of problems, and I just haven't really been engaged with it anymore. But this man lives and dies by this, meaning Tony Khan. This man said that AEW is family friendly. He said that at the post press scrum, whatever. He said that this shit was family friendly. Strangling somebody, dunking them in aquariums. You know what I mean? Like that's family friendly. I don't get it. And I don't get him. But it makes sense that this man is calling Dave Meltzer. Brian Alvarez is the same way. They ride this guy so hard because they come from that world. They come from that. And they like that. This is their style of wrestling, of storytelling. Despite any and everything that they come on their platforms and say, you can tell that they're shields. They're finna introduce another title, the AEW National Championship. You introduced 2 separate championships that Okada and Omega had to fight over to unify that championship. We don't have no contenders for these championships. They're just being made, and any and everybody can contend for these championships. Are they going to come out here and say that that's bad? Are they going to say, hey man, it's too many belts? Like, you already introducing tag team titles for the women in a division that is not really a division hardly. You're just throwing women together. It's like now Tony is just doing stuff just to do stuff. It just feels like he's just doing things just to do them. Just because he can. There's not a flushed out division. There's no contenders. It's just any and everybody can just like contend for these championships. There's not a pecking order. Like, yeah, he throws out these eliminator matches and things like that, but there's no rankings. Like, you don't see who's in these divisions vying for these championships is what I'm trying to say. Contenders just happen on a whim through a battle royal, through a fatal 4-way, through a multi-man matches. That's how people are number one contenders. There's no rankings. There's no, I got a dispute with you. You got a dispute with me. Whoever wins this is the rightful number one contender for the championship.
Dave may not be an official consultant of AEW, but he's absolutely a consultant of Tony Khan's. I'm not saying there's even money exchange, but Tony uses Dave as his sounding board. And Dave really loves that position, to be quite honest.
Well, I don't know what kind of positions Dave loves. I'm not going to delve into his personal life. I'm just asking you, have we put the donkey before the fucking horse there? I'm wondering if we've been saying Tony's a rotten booker. Tony does, he's not a, should we be blaming Dave? Is Tony just getting instructions from Dave? And this is Dave because Dave certainly loves this wrestling. He defends it as if it was his own offspring against all logic and reason, against many of his former friends of a previous generation who think he's lost his mind. He will die on that. This is a hill. If ever that term has come to fruition any better, this is a hill he will die on.
Yeah, and it just an odd show to watch because on one hand you have like great wrestling, but is on the other hand you know that it's gonna lead nowhere because it's just something that you're just watching. I don't know how to describe it, but this show is just clueless. It's clueless on how to be a wrestling show. That Ricochet thing was just god awful. That was the worst thing of the night. It was embarrassing. It's a little too late. Like, he could have been so much more had this been 6 years ago when he came into AEW. It would have meant so much more. Man, out here with these fucking cattle trying to rethink life's decisions. It just feels like I don't believe him. I don't know what that is. He can be out there talking to goddamn cows and walking. Look at this shit. All right, walk. Yeah, we got it. We got it. Shit. Look at all the shit this man has done. His character is amongst the worst, and he's the world champion. You go through doing all of this meaningless things. See, look at this. This is the world champion. He think that shit is just like funny and shit. I was all for Hangman at one point. I was all for him. But over the years, like, I just started to not like him because of his character. Because I don't even feel it. I don't feel his character. I don't know, but he's a world champion. This shit was embarrassing. You got the Hurts out there basically just doing nothing at this point, just collecting a check at this point. And they're out there. There's nothing for them to do. There's nothing for them to do. I finally figured it out. AEW just has championships. They don't have no divisions. They just got championships. And anybody can come up with 3 members of a group like this right here. This was embarrassing. This was god awful. This is the reason why WWE didn't really push this man, because he can't talk. He can't talk. He don't sound believable in what he's saying. He comes off looking like a dork. You got these 2 guys with they pastor robes on. They out there looking like they're cool and they're not. And then this guy comes out here and he's trying so hard to be an authentic heel and it's not working. This was embarrassing. I was like, Ricochet, you can't. And even he was trying to come up with stuff to say, but it just didn't work. Why are they going back to this? Look at Tony Schiavone. He's just like, they beat them down in a street fight, in a tag title match, anything and everything else. Why is this happening? I don't get this show anymore. This goes into like the same thing that I was saying about Hangman. He's a world champion. His title reign don't mean nothing. Like, it just seems bland, and he just screams on the mic, trying to convince himself that he can beat somebody and that he could be a champion. It's just not working. They don't have the people to try to get him over. They don't have the stories to try to get him over. AEW needs a reset on all of their champions. All these belts. He got so fucking many belts over here. And they need a reset on all of them. Joe's not going to win that belt, so he's going to take another loss he's just gonna go back to just be doing nothing. No one has an out.
And I'm ready to hop over, Brian, to AEW's Fright Night. The ratings are scary. We're going to catch people up on that here just in a few minutes. Remember, I said the other day, geez, the show came on, and by the time they showed clips and they had matches announced and billboards and graphics, and then a low energy behind the backstage promo, whatever.
Jim, I got my notes here. October 15th was Dynamite with, let's see, you had Tony Storm and Statlander's sit-down interview and then Brawl, followed by the Gates of Agony versus the Hurt Syndicate. Darby Allin and Moxley's cinematic jail sit-down. Claudio versus Roddy. Callis birthday party at a restaurant. Omega Jurassic Express versus Callis family. Ops match. And then Collision built into the show. They did 534,000 viewers from 8 to 10 p.m.
Now, was that the first week of the new method or the last week of the old method? I think that was first week of the new method, wasn't it?
Oh, no, the new method had been in place for a little while. I believe it started September 26th.
Good Lord, how time is flying.
Yeah.
All right. Well, then, and do you have, by the way, what did Dynamite do on September 19th?
I would need a second to pull that up.
Or September 19th
24th.
A Friday. It would have been September 24th. That would have been the older, the new method.
September 24th is 636,000 viewers. I think that may have been the last week with the old method.
Okay, that's what I'm driving at. September 24th was 636. That's the old method. The new method kicked in. Well, what was the next 2 weeks before October 15th?
Hold on. Well, Jim, I have here Wednesday, October 1st, Dynamite, 8 to 10:30 p.m., 165,000 viewers. This was big data plus panel methodology.
Okay, and what about October 8th?
October 8th, or actually October 7th, they aired Tuesday.
Titty Tuesday.
Title Tuesday, 8 to 10 p.m., Tuesday, October 7th, 321,000 viewers.
Okay, that's an off night, but nevertheless. So we've got September 24th, the last week of the old method, 636. Then the following Wednesday, 465. Following Tuesday, take that out of the equation. Off night, 321. They come back on October 15th, 534, over 100,000 lower than the big one in September. What was October 22nd?
October 22nd Dynamite was San Antonio, Ops versus Hurt Syndicate, Darby promo, women's 4-team tag match, Mercedes Moné cake celebration, Moxley versus O'Reilly part 1, and Fletcher and Callis promo, and that's about that. Bandito main event with Briscoe, Bandito versus Okada main event, excuse me. 8 to 10 p.m., 477,000 viewers.
Okay. And the 29th, the show that we just talked about, those numbers have come in. What did they do there?
Most recent AEW Dynamite, October 29, 2025. This is reported by WrestleNomics. 8 to 10:08 p.m., 459,000 viewers. Not counting Max.
So in the 4 Wednesday nights since the new method, they've gone from the last week of the old method, 636, to 465, 534, 477, and 459. Now, same thing's happening to the WWE. They've lost a good 10, 15, 20% of the audiences, last time I checked, that were being measured under the new method, but they start with bigger numbers, and as well, they're more diversified in that there's some programs on streaming and some programs on cable and some programs on broadcast. But this can't be in any way good for AEW's interactions with WBD, potential sale or not coming up. They just keep getting lower.
Again, it's important to note that AEW, although getting hundreds of millions overall over several years for media rights, is still a fairly cheap program for TBS, but that doesn't always save something.
You get what you pay for.
But I don't know if it's unfair to wrestling or more realistic to wrestling, the new ratings methodology, because also it's happening in the middle of a downturn. If not business-wise for everyone, just general vibes-wise. AEW does not feel hot. WWE feels hot, and you don't understand why, because you don't feel it. It looks hot, I guess is maybe a better way to say it. But right now, I think we're in a downturn.
And then he was trying or supposed to set up for Pockets, of all people, to make the challenge for Blood and Guts. That's a pay-per-view. He gives the microphone to Pockets, and he said, well, Blood and Guts. He ruined the pay-per-view main event challenge. Why would they let this dipshit speak? It just shit all over the whole thing. However, let's remember the whole thing is now they've got a Blood and Guts match on pay-per-view with the Boar Horsemen against Mark Briscoe, Darby Allin, Roderick Strong, and Kyle O'Reilly, apparently, right? And Pockets. So now they're doing underneath preliminary Blood and Guts matches.
This is another thing that I just really don't understand. And I was just so puzzled about this show is that if you have a match like this, you're just giving it away on free TV. I know they've been doing these Blood and Guts matches for since forever, but you could have at least build to this. You knew that this was coming up on your calendar year. Wouldn't you make this a bigger deal? But it's just a match that you just throw all of these people in. And it's what are the stakes? It's between this and War Games, it's a lot of fucking cage matches here. And this pay-per-view here is going to be on the 21st. War Games is on the 29th. Oh my gosh. And then the women are going to have their War Games. It's just so much going on that everything feels rushed because, okay, you're going to have this Blood and Guts. And then a couple of weeks later, you're going to have Full Gear. Wait. Okay, Full Gear is on the 21st. Blood and Guts is next week. All of these matches, he's just doing whatever that he wants. And he's having fun doing it. Look at him. He's having fun on the job. Is it wrong for me to say that he's a shit boss? He's a bad boss. He's a bad booker. This man is calling Dave Meltzer to get him guidance. I thought I heard it all. I thought I seen it all. But that is what's steering this ship here. I can't believe this. This is just too much. What's the reason for it? What does the team win if they win? There's nothing. It's just a cage match. It's just War Games. War Games is another one. They're just gonna put everybody in the cage, but they need to have something on the line.
I think Tony sees the Death Riders and Orange Cassidy as not being underneath preliminary guys. I think you could definitely argue in terms of who's a star in AEW, Moxley, Darby, Briscoe. Again, you want to talk about people, if they had only done this in the beginning when they came in, but they're setting up Blood and Guts. The interesting thing is, when is Blood and Guts?
November 22nd is the date of their pay-per-view, if I believe.
And so that's
If
November.
memory serves.
And then November 29th is WWE Survivor Series War Games.
That's what I'm saying. It's too many cage matches.
It says that we're going to see a bunch of the same old shit. And yes, I agree. The way he's been used, Moxley is the worst wrestler in the world, but the way he's been used, he's a main event guy.
Right.
Darby is a main event guy. Briscoe was on that precipice where he could or couldn't. And the people still like him. But you got Wheeler Useless. You got Garcia. You've got Roddy, bless him. Again, great worker, presented like a dipshit. Claudio. And the mascot.
Yeah, so we're about to get 3 War Games matches in a week because it's going to be men's and women's at the WWE Survivor Series.
Well, no.
And if they only...
There's going to be 4. There's going to be 4.
They're doing a women's one too? Okay, great.
I was going to mention that they're doing, yes. This company, as bad as it is when the WWE does a men's and women's War Games and takes all the fucking steam out of the real men's War Games, that is the real one, at least they've got some women that are not going to fall on their face to embarrass themselves. I understand they're going to do a women's Blood and Guts match. So in the space of 7 days, we're going to see...
Actually, I'm wrong about 7 days because the AEW one is on the 12th in Greensboro.
November 12th?
November 12th in Greensboro.
I thought that was the 22nd.
No, it's not going to be a weekend. Apparently it's going to be on Dynamite.
Oh, Jesus H. Christ. So it's not going to be on a pay-per-view. They're just going to do women's Blood and Guts on TV.
Yeah.
What the fuck? The point is, it's the same old shit. Women's Blood and Guts, men's Blood and Guts, women's War Games, men's War Games. We're going to get to see the WWE version and the fucking Great Value generic version of all of these matches over a 2-week period. Oh, joy, oh, bliss.
That's what I'm saying. It's a lot. It's a lot, but I'm all for it. I'm all for it. If they have it out there, man, I want to see it. But Dynamite as a whole, it was nothing to this show. You see stuff that you see each and every week. These women, they don't matter. They get hurt. These tag team divisions are not going to do anything for this division. This division here, they work really hard. These tag titles, they don't mean nothing. Already they don't mean anything. Megan and this other girl, what's her name? Mina, the match was all right. I was just looking at tits. I'm just being completely honest with you. And the other girl, she got hurt. Another one that is just getting hurt. So she's in there with Marina. Megan is going to team with Marina in this tournament. They should give the titles to them two. Have Megan Bain join the Death Riders. I don't know who's gonna win these tag team titles. It's just gonna be just like any other title in this company. You're gonna have no divisions. You're gonna have nothing, no hierarchy. It just seems like people could just proclaim that they're in matches for championships. Too many titles, and this guy he needs to be stopped at this point. Like, how many championships are you gonna have? What's the reason of unifying those two titles with Okada and Hank Kenny? You had the international championship. Now you're gonna have the national championship. I don't know what's going on here. It's like people are just in the same positions. I don't know, man. The show, it is what it is at this point. The talent that they have, really undeniable. They do have some talent, but without any direction, is just clueless. AEW is just clueless. Look at this man. Look at look at how this man was in the corner. Look at how he was in the corner. Wait, go back. Look at that. But Blood and Guts next week. I expect to see Blood and Guts, literally and figuratively, because that's all what this place is. It's just a show to just put on matches, have a good time, but it is not what Wrestling Observer, Brian Alvarez, and Dave Meltzer makes this thing up to be. Not after I heard that. After I heard that little phone call that I showed y'all, I don't take nothing that they say in face value no more. They just don't want to talk bad about this company because they're in their back pockets. They can try to persuade you to and brainwash you to think that this shit is how wrestling is supposed to go. They come from this world. Indie people. There's nothing wrong with that, but that shit does not work on a national televised TV station, channel, whatever you want to call it. It don't work like that. Obviously, this shit doesn't work. But I bet you they gonna say, man, this shit was awesome. But that was Dynamite, man. That was Dynamite. It's another show about nothing. I'm looking forward to Blood and Guts next week. That Ricochet thing, man, that was just terrible. I feel so bad for him because like he wants to be a main eventer and he can't talk and he got flustered. Kept regurgitating the same thing over and over again, but just in a different way to try to stay on point with the promo. But he just don't have the delivery. And it just came off. It was almost like if a comic bombed on stage. That's how it was. I just felt so bad for him because that's exactly why WWE did not trust your ass to talk or anything because of this right here. If Ricochet would have kept that Puma mask on, we would have been saying something different. But this right here, this guy, he will never be a world champion.